to which of the Power 5 conferences is the deepest roster of quarterbacks. And Garrett, I think there's one that runs away with this.
I'm definitely taking the Pac.
Yeah. I mean, they're the ones who have the most or the least amount of questions. If you go team by team throughout all 12 teams in the Pac-12, I think only 2 of them really have battles, maybe 3,
right?
If I'm leaving them out. And the 2 of the ones that do, you're not even thinking about them for the conference title at all. So, but if you go through the Power 5 conferences and look at the depth of it, I'll just start and tell you the Pac-12 has the deepest run in that. You know that Jaden DeLara is starting at Arizona. You know that Arizona State has a competition. Cal has a competition with Sam Jackson transferred in for TCU. Colorado's Shadir Sanders. Bo Nix is at Oregon. DJU is at Oregon State. There's some, slack-jawed dimwit named Caleb Williams that – may or may not be any good at USC, and I kid, about to be probably the first pick in the draft and could contend for a second Heisman Trophy in a row. Stanford will have a competition. UCLA has a competition, and Utah's got Cam Rising back. Washington has Penix back, and Wazoo is back with Cameron Ward. So those are all guys that have – all the ones that are coming back have all won and won at a pretty good level. So – maybe Jaden DeLara has helped improve them, but they know who their quarterback's going to be all the way around. And I don't think you can say that for any other conferences, Craig. At least that, per capita of knowing their quarterbacks. 75% they know. And, look, are really good. A lot of teams would trade, even if you took, say, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix out of this thing, the higher-ranked NFL potential guys. How many teams in the country would trade for a healthy Cam Rising at any moment?
Him in particular, I think a lot. DJU, not as many. It kind of depends on where you look. But, no, I think, without just off the top of my head, trying to, click through every conference.
I've got the list if you need some help.
No, I'm just thinking of, I know they're way more experienced and top-heavy than the Big 12. Yeah. They're way more experienced and top-heavy than the SEC. Mm-hmm. I was kind of just going through my head as far as the ACC and the Big Ten go. But no, they're going to be loaded for. That's the big storyline, right? That's the big storyline for the Pac this year is the quarterbacks, and all of that is leading to probably the most bright and sunshiny, positive piece of news that they've got to hold on to right now. And I don't mean that to say it's all storm clouds and everything because of the TV negotiations, because there's a lot of people that just brush that off like it's not a big deal. No matter where you sit on that, it's still that's been an overwhelming offseason topic. No matter, who's talking about the Pac-12, it's inevitably brought up because that's been, a constant. But, beyond that, if you're looking at all right, what's the one thing Pac-12 fans can all celebrate and be excited about and really, want to have as a topic that's discussed over and over again, it would be their starting quarterbacks and the depth of the quarterbacks in that league at the starting role in the starting roles. So yeah, I think that leads to big expectations this year. Caleb Williams, as you said, who has bigger expectations than him? Who has bigger expectations than Caleb Williams? I don't think there's anybody, but then there's guys who have huge expectations like a Bo Nix, as you mentioned, and we can go, Cam Rising. Still, we 100% he'll even be healthy by the Baylor game. Not quite sure on that yet. Hopefully he is, because I wouldn't want to see, anybody but Cam Rising when the Utes come to Waco. But, I think, on paper it looks great. You got to go out there and perform, obviously, but they're shaping up to be really entertaining and interesting at that position, and should pay them dividends, you would think.
Yeah, the Big Ten. Look, Luke Altmaier will probably be the starter at Illinois, who transferred in. Indiana is in flux. I will have Cade McNamara. Maryland has
upgrade
Tailua Tagovailoa. So
good player.
J.J. McCarthy at Michigan's the best quarterback in the league and one of the better ones in the country. Michigan State all of a sudden has a quarterback situation on their hands as they lost Peyton Thorne to Auburn. Minnesota will have a new quarterback. Nebraska will have a new quarterback in Jeff Sims. Ben Bryant, more than likely the starter at Northwestern. Ohio State's going to have a new quarterback. Penn State will have a new one, but they know who it's going to be, and Drew Aller, who is a very highly recruited player. Hudson Card will be at Purdue.
That's definitely a nice change up from Aiden O'Connell. So, yeah, I mean, they've got some guys. They got a lot of newcomers. But, as far as, like, returning guys, it's the Pac-12, and it's not even really close.
Yeah, that's the one that kind of takes it. And then, like, the Big 12's in flux. The ACC, they've got some returners, but – it's
headliners?
Top heavy. It's Drake, like in their conference, headliner wise, it's Drake May, Jordan Travis, and Cade Klubnik. And then
you got Tyler Van Dyke, and I mean that's
Tyler Van Dyke, who's kind of who could maybe be up on their level,
there
but
like Drake May and stuff. But I mean that's not an empty cupboard by any means, but. Yeah, no, I mean, I think, top to bottom, it's fair to say the Pac has the deepest, strongest starting quarterback lineup right now. And, like I said, we'll see how much that carries over as far as wins go, but there's going to be a bunch of teams as a result that feel like they're going to be in contention, and that should make for a great year. And quite frankly, the timing couldn't be any better because, they could use, and all leagues could, but, the Pac in particular, the Big 12 had the TCU story last year, and they had the K-State renaissance, and there were some fun things to talk about, and had some the best draft they've had in a really long time as far as first rounders go, and you feel like they've got pretty good momentum. But like I said, just given that a lot of what the offseason talk about the Pac has had nothing to do with football really, it's shaping up really well for them to talk a lot about some really great football being played in that conference this year. But on paper and in action is totally different things.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But you feel pretty good about that group of guys.
I would be remiss not to mention Riley Leonard at Duke, who was a big reason why they were so good last year. And Duke's not somebody you're gonna mess with, but
you gotta pay attention to them now, though, Elko. I mean, you can't just sit there and chalk that up as a dub on them. I mean, some teams probably, Georgia could, Alabama could, but I mean, they're definitely going to give some teams a handful, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be interesting to see. But the Pac-12 has the best situation, and of course, they're going to have the presumptive. First overall pick. I think Bo Nix will probably play his way into the first round if he continues on his trajectory. And
this segment was sponsored by the CW. Get all your streaming. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.